Music, please. Thank you. Thank you. I'm Kate, writer-director, and this is Carolyn, producer. Our project is Marvelous in the Black Hole. A little bit about the story. It's present day, summertime in the Bay Area. This is 13-year-old Sammy Coe. Her mom died last year, and she's really struggling to get over it. She smokes, she gives herself crappy tattoos, and she lashes out at everyone she knows. When she's caught vandalizing a public bathroom, her father, who's stern and not very emotional, gives her an ultimatum. Behave, or he's gonna ship her off to a teen boot camp. And on top of that, he signs her up for summer classes at the community college. It's at the community college that she meets Margot, an aging kids party magician. And Margot's fun and full of life and spontaneous. She's a little surly too. But Margot ropes Sammy into helping her with a magic show. And Margot's actually kind of an amazing magician. She can conjure flowers and a fat rabbit out of thin air, but Sammy's not impressed. She thinks magic's for kids and idiots. Despite that, Margot sees that Sammy has some raw talent, so she gives Sammy a deck of cards, and they feel special. And Sammy can't help but feel a little bit intrigued by this weird magician lady. But that night, Sammy gets the worst news ever. Her dad announces that he's going to marry his new girlfriend, and this sends Sammy over the edge. She goes on a tear around the neighborhood, smashing mailboxes and cars, and she injures herself. She's all bloody, so she can't go home. And she ends up turning to the only person she can sort of trust, Margot. After Margot bandages Sammy up, she offers to teach her a way of channeling her rage into something a little less destructive, magic. And Sammy takes her up on it. Margot introduces Sammy to the secretive world of sleight of hand magic and her colorful crew of scoundrels. And as Sammy spends more time with Margot, she starts to see the world in a more magical way. But as her dad's wedding grows closer, Sammy starts to depend on Margot more and more as a means of escape, to the point where she starts skipping classes in favor of hanging out with her and her friends. Drinking, getting more tattoos. Things come to a head at the engagement party when her dad discovers that Sammy's failed out of class for lack of attendance. And he's so pissed, he decides to drag her off to boot camp immediately. But Sammy manages to escape, and she tries to convince Margot to run away with her. But when Margot refuses, Sammy feels betrayed by the only friend she has. And she goes on a bender that implodes her friendship with Margot, breaks up her dad's engagement, and she injures herself so badly she ends up in the hospital. At her lowest point, Sammy realizes that she can't keep hurting herself and others anymore. So she decides to put on a magic performance in an attempt to honor her mother, bring her family back together, and restore her friendship with Margot. Sammy and Margot's relationship is largely based on my relationship with my grandpa, and this is a photo of us. He helped raise me when I was younger, and I had nightmares, really bad ones growing up, but he would tell me stories to help me sleep. Stories that I later realized were his own horrific experiences with the Japanese occupation of Hong Kong, that he transformed into cathartic and wondrous fairy tales. He taught me the power of channeling pain and anger into something beautiful. And this is the same lesson that Margot teaches Sammy. With magic, Sammy is finally able to express and transform her grief. And magic's special because it's all about making the impossible possible. And to a grieving girl, getting over your mom's death seems like an impossible task. But by doing magic with Margot, performing little miracles every day, Sammy is able to open herself up again to hope and wonder, to possibility. Why this story? Well, when I was growing up, my parents got divorced and I moved around a lot. It was incredibly isolating. I was mad, I was depressed, and I had nowhere to put these feelings until I saw the fantastical coming-of-age films by Tim Burton and John Waters and Steven Spielberg. These films made me laugh. They made me feel better, and they made me feel less alone. But there was always something missing. I never saw anyone that looked or sounded like me as the leads. And I still don't see it now in genre films. With Marvelous in the Black Hole, I wanted to make something for my younger self, and for others, an all ages audience now, who feel the same way.
So as far as our production, we plan to shoot in Los Angeles, where both Kate and I are based, and where we will have ideal access to locations, cast, and crew. We plan to shoot in August of this year for roughly 20 days. This is her short film, So You've Grown Attached, about a young girl and her imaginary best friend. And it also features a child protagonist and has fantasy elements. The film won Best Short at several top-tier film festivals and is a great example of her skill in this genre. So for the otherworldly elements of this film, we plan to use special effects and puppetry, including a pivotal scene where Sammy rides away on a giant rabbit to escape her father, who's trying to send her to boot camp.
And there's a lot of sleight-of-hand magic in this movie. I've fostered relationships with world-class magicians who will be working in front of and behind the camera to make sure it all looks great, including Rob Zabrecki, who taught me the opening trick to this pitch.
So a little bit about us. Kate is an incredible writer, director, and artist, and I was drawn to her work because I loved her use of imagination, heart, and humor while not being afraid to confront darker themes. Her work has been nominated for a Student Academy Award and broadcast nationally on PBS. She also works in live action and animation, and as you can see, she's a wonderful magician and a member at the Magic Castle.
And Carolyn is a wonderful creative producer. She's a true collaborator and a champion of female writer-directors. She's been selected for multiple TFI labs, including All Access and Through Her Lens, and she's been a part of Film Independence, Project Involve, and Producers Labs. So why is this story important for a broader audience? Well, for a long time, I didn't feel like I had a voice that was worthy of being heard. And seeing Crazy Rich Asians was a big moment for me, even though it's a story I don't relate to at all. But it felt so cathartic and empowering just to see somebody that looked like me on the screen, to finally feel seen. And judging by the success of that movie, clearly a lot of people feel the same way too. I want to give those people more stories. I want to take a traditional coming-of-age story and do it in a way no one's ever done it before, with Sammy, Margot, and a giant rabbit. Over 1 million people have watched my films online in the last year. There's clearly a need for the stories I want to tell. And lastly, I wrote Marvelous in the Black Hole for Asian Americans and women who rarely ever get to see themselves as the lead. For anyone who's ever felt invisible or suffered a difficult loss. For those wonderful weirdos who find beauty, humor, and resilience in the dark. And lastly, I wrote it for myself. This is the film I wish I had growing up. And even now. Let's make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.